Well, we're finally getting our first little flurries and snowfall of the season here, even though it's November. A little late for Colorado, but still technically fall. And why not? Seems like a perfect time of year to come in the garage and talk about motorcycles. Because, you know, they're so useful in the snow. But no, I've cleaned up the bikes here in the last couple days, and been riding quite a bit recently, and just brought them to the garage with this weather coming in here, and well, I was doing it today, and anyway, wanted to kind of talk about the bikes again. I think I shot one video, oh gosh, I don't know, last year or something. I went through the bikes, so just talking about what they are, but here's a quick little follow-up on what I have, what I ride. I guess we'll start out with my original purchase and the newest one to me and the closest one here. 2005 Yamaha R6. Mostly stock. It's only got about 10,000 miles on it. So it's a 20-year-old bike, so it's been babied. Has a slip-on. Otherwise, it is not too much done to it. Fun bike to ride. Obviously, sport bike ergos can be a little uncomfortable sometimes, but still a lot of fun. And then behind it, we got the R1. That is a 2003 Yamaha R1. Got that one, oh gosh, years ago, but equally as fun to ride. It's just a hair more stretched out. I think the bars might be a tiny bit more forward and down, but it's wild. I mean, a liter bike is crazy to ride. It's just hilarious. But over here, back here, we got the Zuma. I've had that one since new as well. That's an 08. It's a two-stroke. Fun little 50cc scooter. And obviously, staring right in front of it is, well, something I've never had on the channel before because it's new to me. Figured it's time to talk about it. So, yep, we got a Harley. And it's a Sportster. So this is a 2002 Sportster. I believe this would have been the base model. It's originally an 883. I admittedly don't know my Harleys too much. I know all the basics, but I believe this would have been the base model Harley-Davidson you could buy back in 02. 883 Sportster, kind of like the base model. But this one is not so stock, and that's really what interested me and why I made the purchase here recently, because it has a few goodies on it. So, and I have notes over here because I just want to really make sure I nailed down everything and what this bike is. So here's the specs, and we'll go over here more in a minute. 2002 Harley-Davidson Sportster 883. Like I said, I believe this would be the base model, but it's got a few goodies. Primarily, the big improvement is it's got a Hammer Performance 1275 kit on it, which is basically the entire top end of the motor has been upgraded. Bottom of the motor is stock, transmission is stock, but everything other above that has been replaced or modified. Specifically, pistons, cylinders are new for the 1275. Those are original heads, but they've been ported. It has cams. It's got an upgraded oil pump. It has the Dyna ignition, and it has a kind of forward shifted air intake. The carb is actually stock, other than I was told that it was slightly overboard. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was obviously properly jetted for mountain riding up here. And the thought from the previous owner was that the stock one's a little better suited for changes in elevation. Once again, I don't know how true that is, but that's what I was told. And the riding I've done so far seems to be pretty good. These other bikes, not the little scooter, but these other bikes are fuel injected, so a little spoiled with that compared to a carbureted up here in the hills where you can vary in a lot of elevation. But anyway, as far as mods outside of the engine itself, obviously the exhaust, like sort of part of the engine, but it's a 2-in-1. I think it's a Stealth brand. I don't know all the details, but looks like a nice exhaust. Sounds good. 2-in-1 is certainly the preferred design for a V-twin engine for at least performance. More on the aesthetic look side, it does have a small little bobbed fender. It's called My notes say here the Tsunami fender. It's got small little LED turn signals and brake lights on the front and rear. What else do we have? Aftermarket pegs. The front wheel fender is off, and there's a fork brace there instead. These handlebars, which not really my style, but they're not horribly uncomfortable. I think they're called whiskey handlebars. The headlight, a little hard to see because it's got the fairing, which is another thing here. The headlight is LED. It was modified. That's all my notes. See if I have anything else, just looking at it. It's got Avon grips and a few other things on here. Still stock tank. Tank is raised. I don't really know why. Is it more for a looks thing? But certainly not performance. Raising up the center of gravity here by getting a few gallons of fuel up. I don't know. But for the most part, that's all the mods. This thing only has like 5,800 miles on it. So, and the modifications were done in the last, I think based on the receipts and all the info I have, I think the mods were done in the last 1,500 miles in the last 4 years. So this was kind of a post-COVID project for the previous owner. And he just likes Harleys, goes through them, and wanted something different, so did the deal. But has the stock wheels, so there'd be 19s in the front, 16s in the rear. Yeah, and that's the basics of what this is. It still has a still got the stock belt drive. I don't know what the limits of the belts are, but this kit is supposed to be the 90 plus horsepower, somewhere between 90 and 100 horsepower. So I'm guessing that's probably at the limits of whatever that belt can handle. But coming here on the other side, kind of relocated ignition here, relocated, the side mounted license plate. What else? It's got one little mirror here. It does have Harley shocks. They are Fox shocks. I don't know what bike they come off of. They're not a Sportster originally, but still a little too soft. This thing can tend to bottom out, so it'd be nice to get a better shock. But anyway, that's the bike. And next thing I really should talk about here is, because I talk about everything in the videos, what's the plan? This isn't really my style per se. For me, I love all the work done to the engine. It rides great, good performance. I should clarify, and I said kind of earlier in the video, not necessarily a Harley guy as far as having all the history. I've never owned a Harley before. I do like them. I was always a fan of that Sportster 48 that's been around for 10 plus years with the fat front tire. No idea if that would be particularly good handling, but it is a good look. It'd be too much work to put a big fat front end on this thing, so not necessarily do that. But I guess handling, or not so much handling, ride characteristics. These are most of my motorcycle riding history. I've ridden a Dyna before. I've ridden a couple other random bikes, an RC51, some standard style motorcycles, a Triumph. Not necessarily owned all those, but friends and rentals and stuff I've ridden over the years. So I've ridden a variety of bikes, but honestly, not much on a Harley. So this bike, obviously being a Sportster, is really not that heavy in the Harley world, but it is noticeably heavier than, sport bikes and things like that. I would say riding characteristics, it's relatively smooth. The O2, I think, is one of the last before they went to the rubber mounted engine. I don't know how much vibration wise that helped. This has got moderate vibration, but it's not obnoxious. Performance is good, obviously, with the kit. I can't compare it to an original 883, let alone a 1200. It certainly gets up and moves. It has good torque, good horsepower, but like I said, my benchmark is a little hard to compare with the other bikes I ride, so I'll just say it's vastly improved over stock. I think numbers-wise, it more than doubles what an 883 would have originally had from the factory. But anyway, yeah, so this isn't so much well, maybe we'll have a future video, but this isn't so much a review of the kit or review of the bike per se, because I don't have a good benchmark of what the originals were. other than it's certainly fun to ride. Handlebars are different. Not really my style. They are not uncomfortable, but they do almost put the grips almost in front of the forks. It's certainly not a performance riding position. So that's definitely going to change. And fairing is not really my style either, so that's going to come off. Also, it really doesn't do anything. I do ride with full face helmet most of the time, or an open face helmet, or a kind of a half helmet, but I'm always riding with helmets. I mean, your hands are out in the open, so if it's cold, your hands get cold. Your legs are out in the open. It doesn't really provide any kind of protection at all. It's more of a looks thing. But yeah, so I guess one other thing I can talk about here, just as an intro to the bike, is what I want to do. Like I said, I talk about that in most videos. Not too much to start. Obviously, it's the wrong time of year. It's winter coming up. I'd like to get a few more rides before winter's here. But short term, you could definitely use tires. I believe these are probably the original tires, which means they're old and probably even shouldn't be riding those. But it needs tires. I want to get bars, a little more my style. And it doesn't have a tack. And I think most Harley riders probably don't even think twice about that. But I've never ridden a bike of any significance without a tack, let alone a performance bike without a tack. I mean, riding sport bikes, you're always kind of paying attention where the revs are, etc. And, in this, especially because this is really tuned up with the engine, I don't know, it's just nice to know if you're really on it when you're shifting and things like that. So definitely want to get a tack on this. And I think realistically, Harley did have some bikes where they had the same type of tack placed side by side. So that's the kind of look I'd like, because realistically, when it comes to gauges, I think the tack should always be the primary gauge and the speedometer should be secondary. So I don't want to get like a little mini tack. If anything, I prefer to have a big tack and a mini speedo. If you look at these bikes, I don't have the keys at the moment, but I love this style. It's funny, both these bikes have basically the same gauge package where the main focus is the tachometer and the speedo's off to the side. I think that's the preferred look I like. But anyway, so back to this. Basics would be tires, bars, get a tack. Ultimately, I'd like to do a little more of a tracker style, street tracker, whatever you want to call it. I'd love to get a 19-inch wheel on the back and have the same size. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the larger front wheel look. I like it when the wheels are the same size. So I think it'd be cool to have a 19-inch front and back, get as wide a tires you can get on these. Probably maybe like a 120 is probably all you can get. Engine is obviously good. Exhaust is obviously good. Not touching that. Do want to get a different air cleaner. That thing is gigantic. Shifted forward is nice because it does get out of the way of your knee, but I just like a simple round air cleaner, and I don't really like the chrome. I just get black. Right off the carb. I'll definitely want to convert it to chain drive. The belt drive may be okay, but I think chain drive would be ultimately better, and it looks better and it's cooler. Get a set of shocks. Those are okay, but it'd be nice to improve those. The seat is an aftermarket seat, which I'm forgetting what type it is. It's actually not terribly uncomfortable, so I'd stick with that for a while. Yeah, and then the big one is the bars up here. I'd like to get more of a tracker dirt bike style bar. In fact, in my garage cleaning, I don't know where everything went, but I had a random, see if I can find it. I had some random dirt bike handlebar that's been floating around here. I think it'd be cool to check out that for the look. So you just have a low rise come off here, and then just a bar come off with a moderate, doesn't have to be terribly wide, but just, a moderate raise and get the grips out kind of here. I think that'd be better. You can't even barely read the speedo when you're riding now, and then have the tack and speedo up here. That'd be the goal. I'm sure there's other things I'm forgetting, but that's the thoughts. That's the plan. So add something else to the list of stuff. I think this will be fun. I think a few things tweak this will make it even more fun. And since winter's coming, to be honest, I don't have a lot of riding coming up, so really it's the time of year to wrench. And obviously with my garage being sort of clean at the moment, and I'm trying to keep it this way, I'll have more room. The bikes aren't normally all crammed in here. I'll have more room to work on stuff like this. So that's the thought and that's the plan. So intro to the Sportster. And yeah, certainly more things to come on this. Like I say on all of them. I think it'll be fun. Something a little bit different. I don't shoot a lot of things with the bikes. I just kind of ride them and enjoy them. Like I said, those guys are mildly modified and just kind of do their thing. And I think the Sportster is obviously going to be a lot more modified, but I like to tweak it a little more to my style and then go from there. But I think that's it for now. So more to come on everything, of course. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.